It's the 1st of March 2018, and I'm digesting and reflecting on what's just happened in the last 24 hours as the Human Awareness Institute has contracted with a trademark lawyer to ask me to transfer the rights of the Human Awareness Institute domain name, which for some reason they did not purchase. A little bit of context: I own more than 50 domains, and they're important for search engine optimization. There are also things I do for most of my work is nonprofit, and so I have a lot of different domains around different creative expressions and things along those lines. And it's common practice in the industry, if you own a domain, to if you let it lapse, a domain business company, a speculator basically, will buy the domain for $10, $14, something like that, and then they will try and sell it back to you for $1,000, $10,000, etc. So this is an active and speculative business that happens all the time, and it's perfectly legal for anyone to buy any domain anywhere from any company selling the domain. Julie was asking me, in her position as High Global's attorney, to transfer my domain over to High so that my protest site would get fewer views, so that they can maintain these positions longer. In other words, the positions that they are taking, that I am expressing on this site, are not consistent with good therapeutic guidelines, legal guidelines, healthy relationship guidelines. They're not consistent with good business guideline. A good business guideline and a good business protocol is a protocol that if you published that protocol on the front page of the New York Times, you would get more business, not less. That is a good business protocol. A good therapeutic protocol is a therapeutic protocol that if you published it in the leading journal on therapeutic ethics, you would have more therapists refer people to you rather than people boycotting you. A good relationship protocol is one that builds trust, dignity, and respect in your client and your partner, etc., not that destroys that. And so there isn't any of these positions that I'm bringing to attention that would have that effect. Meaning, if High could have absolutely free advertising and publish what they've done and not done around me and other participants, they would lose business. If they published their protocol for dealing with therapeutic negligence and facilitator negligence, a majority of therapists would boycott them, would actually actively encourage people not to go there as long as facilitators held these principles. So these are untenable positions. And the only thing that you can do when you are insisting on maintaining an untenable position that you've got to know is hurting how much trust other people have in you, how much business you get, your respect levels, etc., is to control the communication. It's one of the ways that it's not. The reason that the U.S. government has made WikiLeaks such a target is because their positions on a number of things, from hacking into your iPhone and devaluing Apple stock to torturing animal rights activists, calling them domestic terrorists. You know, these are not tenable positions for the leader of the free world. And so we have corollaries here. And so the question is how to view and how to respond mentally, emotionally, physically. So first of all, the impact that this has on me emotionally. Sadness, grief, fear, anger, mostly sadness and grief. These people are in roles around leadership in love, intimacy, and sexuality. As they've taken these positions, we are leaders, we are teachers, we are facilitators, and we are therapists, though they've started to change the word. But if you've done therapy with 4 facilitators, as I have, and you've done work with other licensed psychotherapists, first of all, as soon as you introduce the element of touch, which the high facilitators do, it deepens the impact by at least 30%. So in some ways, you could say that they're having 30% more emotional impact as a result of introducing the element of touch. In some cases, more than that if people have trauma around touch. But with impact comes responsibility. If you have more impact than a traditional therapist, and there isn't a single topic from rape to trauma to psychological abuse to this and that and the other that they shy away from, they're much more intimate than psychotherapists, but without the guidance. So when you have more impact without responsibility, it's very similar to like if you have a little bit of a ping pong and you're throwing it around randomly and you hit someone, it's not a big deal. You turn that into a lead ball and you throw it around. Suddenly the impact, the more impact you have, the more responsibility you need to have for that impact. And so why the grief on both my own behalf and on behalf of the community? Well, one of the messages that I hear is that, consistent with Jason Weston saying that this is not a high issue, that I'm hurt and that my health has deteriorated and my finances have deteriorated as a result of trusting a high facilitator recommended to me by all the other facilitators. That's not a high issue. And so no money was spent to support a therapeutic patient and participant who received profoundly abusive treatment at the hands of a key high staff. Now, this violates trust. It hurts. But consistent with the messages then, it's not like there wasn't there was an absence of meetings. The facilitators met with frenzied intensity behind closed doors and never invited my voice to be heard. They spent money. Peter spent money on an attorney. What was his advice to his therapeutic patient? He said, my attorney says you should treat this like South Africa and have a forgiveness kind of process for me, forgive me, and that's the end of it, and we won't talk about it. It won't be a public process like it was in South Africa, of course, because we have to keep our shame secret, but it will be a secret forgiveness hearing. In other words, you forgive me and don't sue me, and I've paid money to get this advice to tell you what's good for me, your therapist and your facilitator. And Peter then hired an energy worker to tell him that this was something I should be dealing with on my own, when obviously I tried that and that wasn't working. But of course, the energy worker doesn't want to talk to me, doesn't want to diagnose the patient. He just wants to earn his fee by telling Peter Sandhill what he wants to hear, if Peter even told him the full situation. And then that comes back to me. And then I'm not feeling heard with Peter, and he brings in Sarah to say that he is hearing me. I don't feel heard. Another facilitator gangs up to say, he is hearing me. But isn't the point that I'm not feeling heard? And so there's a process of spending money and resources to support untenable positions rather than clearing out the positions that are untenable. If I was the high attorney, I would say, give this man a refund, find this person competent therapy, apologize, develop new protocols that ensure this isn't happening, fill in your blind spots, talk about it to your people so that they don't learn about it, firsthand, and delete the need for a lawsuit by being honorable. I'd be out of a job as an attorney, but I do that all the time in my business. You don't need me. You could do this yourself. Are you sure you want to hire me? Why? What would you like? How can I be of help? So this is, I think, an important part of ethics, to show up in the way that's good for your client. So it's been 3 years, and the facilitator body has not done anything for me to improve my well-being. It's been 15 years since the first thing. I haven't even received a refund from what has been acknowledged as negligent work. But High's classy move is to hire an attorney, Julie Turner, to ask that I spend energy to make myself more invisible, because it's not enough that the High facilitators refused to read my emails, refused to apologize, and refused to acknowledge that the most egregious ethical breach that I'm aware of in the organization, or in any therapist that I've worked with, of the 30 that I've worked with, is not a High issue. This is a very sad move, because it is one more message in a long line of messages. We're out for number one. And if that means you're inconvenienced, if that means you're insulted, if that means you get the message again that you're not worth it, that's okay. As long as we can cover this up, that's okay. So we'll go out and hire an attorney to harass you about very questionable issues. Meaning, anyone can buy a domain name, so why are they taking that line? No legal basis not to. Right there on this, this is a protest site. Are you trying to censure the use? In a world of win-win, is it necessary to censure the use of your own name in clearly written challenges to your positions? What if these people were in Washington right now? What would they do with WikiLeaks? Keep him locked up and depressed in the Peruvian embassy? Let him out? What would they do? Would they change their positions and start releasing animal rights activists and stop denying them toilet paper and blah, 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 just so they can fill their racial quotas and, and stop bothering journalists who write about this and stuff? Would they do that? Or would they start hiring high-priced attorneys to silence people that don't like their policies? Because I think Trump is a very good representation of what we get when we have regressed children who are dealing with trauma and don't know it, who have more authority than they are capable of ethically handling in the best interest of everyone. I think Hai is a good example of that. So why would we get different if reasonable people at the head of Hai are experiencing this? Why would it be different at the top? Why would it be different in the presidency? And how is it that this double standard can be maintained within an organization that's teaching love and intimacy? We'll spend money to weaken our client and hide our positions rather than change the positions and make them more noble. So this is the core, issue. And these things hurt the part of me that's trying to bring light into these areas, because they're not personal. They're not personal. This is the kind of behavior that on a statistical level leads to betrayal, addiction, da, 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 da. So thanks for watching, and you are welcome to participate in encouraging Hai to be spending its tax free money as a nonprofit to hire ethical advisors that will tell the facilitators how to behave consistent with best practices, rather than hiring attorneys to silence the expression of malpractice to protect other participants.